one came with a difference because it was all about the voice, and it had judges like will.i.am, Tom Jones, Jessie J and Danny O'Donoghue all set out to find a voice that will stand out against the rest, and all four of them competing against each other to find the best possible one. And we're joined by a very exciting guest this morning, aren't we, Dave?
We are. We're joined by J-Marie Cooper. How are you?
I'm okay, thank you.
Finally made it. You're lost in Vauxhall.
I'm so sorry.
That could be a film, couldn't it? Lost in Vauxhall.
Yeah, because Daniel came to meet me and then I went the other way and it was just a bit crazy. But I'm here now, so thank you for having me.
It's so good you're here. So you were on The Voice last year, right?
I was, yeah.
And how long ago? Was it exactly a year ago? Was it a lot longer? A year and a half ago?
Well, it aired pretty much a year ago, give or take a couple of weeks, because we're now in April, and I think my episode aired, it did air on the 24th of March. But I filmed the first episode actually in January, but obviously it didn't air till March, so yeah.
And so how has the whole experience, has it just been like a blip, right? Where you thought, gosh, that was surreal, or has it actually ushered you into something?
Well, for the initial coming off of it, it was kind of surreal, if I'm honest, because you're never really ready for that amount of instant kind of exposure.
Yeah.
That's probably the best way to put it. Yeah, because it is so instant, and it was a bit scary, because obviously I've just been doing this for a long time, and it's just kind of behind the scenes, and then all of a sudden all these people open to sort of seeing you, and which is an amazing thing, but it's also quite instant, so it's really strange as well. But it's opened so many amazing doors, more so sort of now that the year's gone by actually, and I've kind of kept at it and just kept doing stuff and putting YouTube videos up and just kept active, and I think that's hopefully what's gonna help open some more doors, but it's definitely from that platform that all those things have happened, so I'm really grateful for it.
And I remember watching your episode actually, the one with the sing-off, and feeling completely that it was so unjust at the time, because you have, and I don't know if listeners have done what we told them to, which is Google and YouTube you at the beginning of the show if they didn't know who you were.
Oh, you told them to do that?
I did, yes.
Oh my gosh.
Because I was YouTubing you, and you just have, and I know you don't need me, who am I to tell you this, but you have an amazing, amazing voice.
Oh, thank you, that means a lot to me.
Well, and with, I thought we're a million times better than the other person. I can't even remember who it was, but I felt at the time that it wasn't the right decision. How did you feel about it at the time?
Honestly, you never know what way it's going to go. In all fairness, I do believe the girl that I was up against was very talented, and she really did work really hard. Like the process towards the battle, Sophie, we were working together, so I saw how hard she was working, and I was really proud of her because her vocal was amazing, and so it's difficult because it's funny in a situation like that because you sort of become friends with people as well, and you get on with them, and then suddenly you're put in this situation where it's one of you that can go through. As far as the decision, honestly, now I'm fine about it. I was pretty upset at the time because I'm human, and certain emotions came up in me that I kind of thought maybe weren't there, and I think more so because of the fact that it wasn't based on my voice, it was based on things that were kind of out of my control. Like, I can't help the fact that I was 10 years older than somebody. That's out of my control. I was born when I was born, and I think due to the fact it was called The Voice, it was just disappointing. I think that the decision came down to that, but on the same hand, that really wasn't anything to do with the producers of the show. That was down to one person, and it's a very pressurising situation. will.i.am was put on the spot. It's like, and he's suddenly got to make a choice like that. And as much as we want it to be about The Voice, sometimes we're all humans and we relate to different people because of different things. So it's a mixture of. Now I understand, but at the time I was very upset because I just love it, and I love singing and I love music.
How long did it take you to get over the depression of being upset from the show? Did it Did it take a month or a couple of months, or did it?
Yeah, I would say, honestly, I think it took even possibly a bit longer than that. I'd say like maybe 3 months, because it becomes your life. Like, I auditioned for the first episode, like back
and why did they pick you? Because it seems like they either did you apply? Because they seem to select people.
I was actually scouted for the
and how do they
auditions.
find you?
Through a couple of producer friends of mine that know me in the business, and I was hesitant because obviously it was a show that's never been done before, but I checked out the American one and just thought it was a really good concept, and I just liked the fact that they don't get to initially see you. I thought that was really exciting. So that's how it came about. Yeah.
Yes. Well, it's worked for you, right? Because they actually all turned around, right? And you got a standing ovation from Tom and from the guy with the black hair, who we can't ever remember his name.
Danny.
Yes.
Danny, that was Sam.
Yeah,
I didn't say
Sam.
Sam.
And from Sam.
I got Jessie J out of her
I
seat
know,
dancing.
me
That's really
too.
cool.
Well, that's because she
It's
was
her
good.
song.
It probably took her a couple of months to get over the fact you didn't select her.
Oh, don't. I still feel bad about that sometimes. Yeah, I do, because as a woman to woman in this business, I know how close to your heart it is, and especially singing her song. But I think the reason I went for will.i.am was because some of the things he said, not all of them were actually in the final edit, but he was just very much in tune with who I am as an artist and a person, and that's why I made that decision.
Well,
but I do sometimes regret it. I
I'm
won't
sure
lie.
Jessie's been cutthroat herself, and it's a cutthroat industry, isn't it? So
it can be, but I mean, I wasn't even thinking of being cutthroat necessarily. It was more just, I mean, it's so difficult because you're literally put on the spot, and there's this massive audience watching you make ultimately a life-changing decision. So,
well, it worked well for you, right?
Yeah.
Because a lot of the other people they headhunt, famous people from West End, a guy from last week, a boy band, famous boy band, right?
Cav, or whatever his name is on
And
his
so they just fail immediately. There's nothing worse than no one turning around. When you're trying to look for a comeback, it's embarrassing for them, isn't it?
I think it's how you bounce from it, though. Like, because who knows what Kavanagh has got coming up? Like, I mean, he could have a batch of great material and just use that show as a platform. I really honestly believe, truly from the bottom of my heart with those shows, that it's really what you do with it afterwards more than what you do while you're on the show.
It's very true.
Because not everything about my experience was positive on the show. And at the time, I literally just thought my world had ended. Even some of the ways I felt about it, and like maybe how certain things were edited and things like that. But honestly, like, you can't control. There's certain things you literally just are out of your control, like how it's going to be edited.
Yeah, sure. And it's all in the editing, isn't it?
Yeah, and you know, you can only you can just pray that you will come across as well as you possibly can, and then from there I've just tried to just really get my head down and work hard, and I just think that really is the key, because it's one thing having a platform, but like just what you do from that.
Yeah.
Going
Did you find
forward.
earning a living doing that is better since doing The Voice? Or?
It is better. I won't lie though, it has gone through times where I've literally been like, am I going crazy? Like, there were a couple of months just sort of, I mean, that's pretty standard for musicians. Like, January, February is always a bit kind of quiet and dry. But there have been times where it's weird, because at the moment it's gone to a really busy stage again, and that could be possibly where the show has started airing again for the second series. But there have been times where it has been really, really quiet as well, and I've just been like, had to have a lot of faith, and as you know, I'm a Christian, so it's like those times where I've just really had to ask God, is this what you want for my life? And then the minute I give it to him, it's just like some amazing doors just seem to open, and I kind of just try not to think too much about it and just do what I do, which is the music side of it, and the rest will take care of itself.
Is there two sides to you in terms of Christian material, non-Christian material, or you just do straight non-Christian material?
My material, I mean, to be honest, I want it to be appealable to people. My interest is hearts and my interest is people. It really doesn't sway me whether someone's a Christian or whether they're not, and they listen to my music. It's about how that affects them and how that moves them and how that might touch them and change their life, hopefully, in some sort of way. I'm aware that my heart is a Christian, and I've been a Christian for 4 years now. But I didn't come from a Christian family, and it's a decision I made on my own. So I'm very aware of what it's like to not have that faith as well, and to not necessarily, you know, I'm trying to find the words to describe it, but not necessarily understand it, and that's fine. And I just want to touch people, and there is a undertone of God in my music because it's part of who I am, but I just want to touch people, and I just want them to be able to relate to it, and hopefully that it moves them in some sort of way.
You mentioned there becoming a Christian 4 years ago. So you were, how old then? 23?
Oh gosh,
Early 20s?
I became a Christian in 2009, July 2009. I'm 28 now, so I'm trying to remember. Oh gosh, my counting's really bad.
Sorry, it's early for maths. But you were
I was 25, yeah,
right,
25.
I mean, that's quite amazing, really, because,
amazing.
you know, a lot of people become Christians when they're young, or
Yeah,
they grow up in
I know.
Christian families. But how did you become a Christian? What happened in your life that sort of drew you to God?
Yeah, it's really nice to talk about this actually, because it's like so much is going on right now, and sometimes I just have to remember like that decision ultimately changed everything for me. How did this happen? I had a lot of friends that were Christians, even a boyfriend at the time, and who is now my boyfriend also, but that's another subject altogether. But yeah, so I was just I was being invited to church a lot by different friends, and one of my friends lives in Canada, and I went over to see her, and I was pretty just in a place where I was searching and wasn't really sure kind of what the meaning of life was, and was kind of a little bit lost, if I'm honest. And when I was there, I went to a few like home groups and church services and things like that, and I just literally just found my peace there, and that missing something that I couldn't quite. I didn't know what I was missing until that point, and then it kind of everything just clicked into place. And it has been a journey. Like, there haven't been times where everything's perfect, and there have been times where I've sort of wondered whether I'm doing the right thing, but I know that I am, because every time I surrender and I just say to God, like, please just guide me. He always does, and he never fails me. So that's how that all came about.
Brilliant. Well, we'll hear much, much more of that just after this.
I see your face in every sunrise, the colors of the morning.